How you doing? This is Bob with Odin's Horror. This is my second video in this new channel I'm doing. I'm going to try to go over some movies each video and talk about some of the vintage horror movies, mostly from when I was growing up, the 70s and 80s. Tonight we're going to talk about, I think I mentioned in the last video, it's called Ghost Story. This is the 1981 Ghost Story. This isn't the Ghost Story or a Ghost Story. It's from I think the 2000s with, I think it's Casey Affleck was in that one. It wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't my thing. But let's talk about this one here. It's called Ghost Story. I'm going to put a picture up somewhere along here, I think. So Ghost Story pretty much is a 1981 film. And I'll just read this because I don't want to screw it up as far as the info. You can get this from Wikipedia. But I highly recommend this movie. And I'll just say, to me, this was a good 8 stars, you know, just easy. I don't know what I would say is a good 10-star rating on a scale of 1 to 10 stars. I mean, there's some very excellent movies out there. I'll go over a whole bunch of different ones over this series I'm doing, but this one here, it's a 1981 film. I think it's one of those movies, Ghost Story is, that if they try to do a remake, I don't think they'll get it right. I don't think they could do it any better than the original. The graphics itself in the original wasn't all that great. It was just such a great, dark, wintry story. And, you know, it's just the kind that when as fall, autumn, as the seasons start happening, you know, the change where it gets darker earlier and it just at night, like where I'm at in Missouri, in this time of the year, it gets real dark. And I'm talking, if you've ever seen that movie Winter's Bone, that's filmed further south from where I live. But they did that because that's like the darkest time of the year, and in Missouri it's pretty dark. A lot of states do, of course, this time of the year. But this state here, it's very weird how dark it is. So dark that it's just like quiet, quiet dark. Like sound doesn't even travel that well. But anyways, that's my personal opinion. So here, let me read this real quick. Ghost Story is a 1981 film. It's an American supernatural horror film directed by John Irving and starring Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., John Houseman, Craig Wasson, and Alice Krige, K-R-I-G-E. It's based on a 1979 novel of the same name by Peter Straub, and it follows a group of elderly businessmen in New England who gather to recount their involvement in a woman's death decades prior, when one of them suspects her ghost has been haunting him. And it's a great movie. I mean, I can't say enough for it. It was the final film for Fred Astaire, by the way, and Mr. Fairbanks, and the final completed film for Douglas, and he died 4 months before the film was actually released. And the first film to feature Michael O'Neill. The film was shot in Woodstock, Vermont, Saratoga Springs, New York, and at Stetson University in Dayland, Florida. Ghost Story was released in the United States on December 18, 1981. Great movie. And, of course, I just pretty much read the plot. And it's a kind of a New England town type of movie where, you know, it starts off in one city and then it works its way around the country. And so I could read the whole thing. I don't know if I really want to. You really kind of got to see the movie. I'm already at 3.5 minutes into this video, and I don't want to go too long. But as far as that cast is concerned, I'll see if I can post up some stuff, link to it. It's a great movie. And I just remember seeing this when at the theater, actually, in 1981. And I was too young to get into that theater, but there was no one around to really stop us. You know, we had a mall called Metro North Mall, and as well as the movies that my father dropped me off, and he paid attention to what I was going to see that night. And I went from this movie, and then I went to another movie, which is called Wolfen, and that's what I'm going to do next. So give me a second here. Let me do a reset on this. I'll be back just a second. Okay, I'm back. So Wolfen is another movie, and it's called The Wolfen, and it's 1978. Is a debut novel of Whitley Strieber. It tells the story of 2 police detectives in New York City who are involved in the investigation of suspicious deaths across the city, which are revealed to be the work of a race of intelligent beings descended from canids called the Wolfen. The novel is told from the point of view of the human character as well as from the Wolfens themselves, and it's a great movie. It's both movies, I'm going to say, the Ghost Story is very suspenseful. It can be kind of horrific. It's not really bloody, gutsy. Now, Wolfen can be bloody, gutsy. Both movies have a fair amount of nudity. And there are, you know, the usual adult theme stuff, you know, the violent stuff. that goes along, you know, with any kind of scary movie. These are old, you know, 70s, 80s movies. I mean, they came out as a film in 1981, but, you know, the actual story's been around for quite a while. And so it's kind of one of those things that I'll give them both 8 stars. You know, they're both great movies in their own different respects. One's more of a creature feature, what The Wolfen is, and a Ghost Story is more of a haunting, supernatural, and it's great. There are a couple spots in there that, as you get older and you watch, it's kind of cheesy, especially on Ghost Story. I don't want to give away the story. You got to see it. Both of them, I say 8 stars, and they're both excellent movies. Can't really, you know, there's not a whole lot to compare them to. Nowadays, you wouldn't be able to make these kind of movies because they would run it with CGI, you know, computer graphic, you know, imagery. And it's just one of those things that the stories themselves tell themselves. And they really get into, like with The Wolf and urban development, stuff like that, where with Ghost Story, it's more like scandalous, you know, hidden, you know, sins that take place, you know, in these young men's lives. And as they get older, they have to retell the story so that whoever in the story comes back and says, hey, well, I know this girl, what's going on with this? You know, I don't even tell you too much of the story, but you need to see it. Ghost Story and The Wolfen. And sorry, phone cut out there. Yeah, the Gray Face Museum. Got my Ed Gein shirt there. It's getting close to Halloween. Wanted to throw that in there. It's in Savannah, Georgia. Just opened in 2020. They have all kinds of weird artifacts from different killing sites, you know, scandalous things. They even had the Heaven's Gate, the original VCR player there. So if you ever get around Savannah, Georgia, check them out. And I'm not sponsored by any one of his videos. I'm just throwing that out because it's kind of themed along with the horror and the vintage and stuff like that. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. I'll try to come back with more movies. Leave some in the comments. I know this first few videos is going to kind of suck until I get my groove on how I'm going to do this. I don't want these videos to run too long, but if you can, give me some feedback on what movies you want to see. If you think these are less or more than 8 stars on these 2 films or the previous video I did, let me know. Tell me what movies you think are better, because give me a chance to review them. We'll kind of build up a little community of people that like these kind of movies. And I try to stick to vintage, classic horror, and these are up there in mine as far as my go-tos. So thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.